Welcome to Behind the Illness with Allie V. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Wow, we are on season 2 already. I am really excited about that. Season 2, episode 1. I did not think I'd ever get this far in starting a podcast, and here we are. So that's pretty cool. I want to thank y'all for listening to season 1 and just giving me a lot of ideas of what to talk about going forward, and giving me some pointers, suggestions, constructive criticism. I really appreciate all of it. So we're going to keep it going, and we are going to have fun with season 2. It won't be maybe as deep as season 1. We're just going to open it up a little bit so that we can have some more opportunities to laugh. And I can't even say really laugh, but just kind of it be a little bit more lighthearted, not as deep. So we need a lot of, get all that pressure off of our shoulders a lot, because I feel like we have that a lot. So we for season 2, for at least the first 5 episodes, I've got 5 books right here on my desk, actually, that I'm going to be talking about and reviewing, and asking y'all to buy them because they're super helpful. And I will say, I'll say this in every episode just to make sure, none of these people know who I am. I bought these books with my own money. I'm not getting sponsored, nothing like that. I just want to talk about some good books. All mental health related. This is a mental health podcast, so we're going to keep it mental health related. So, yeah, let's get started. And I hope that y'all check out these books. And I will give my honest opinion, of course. And we'll talk about it. So let's go. Hey everyone, Allie V here. If you haven't heard about Anchor, you are seriously missing out. Anchor is the easiest way to create a podcast, and guess what? It's free! You can record from your laptop, desktop, iPad, or phone, and then after that, Anchor does the hard work for you. It distributes your podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. Even with low listener counts, you can still make money. What? So what are you waiting for? Download the free app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, let's get into it. I'm really excited, like I said, especially for this first book, because this first book is something that I wanted to start off with, because it is basically just a self-help book regarding mental health. So it's called Are You Okay by Kati Morton. I really loved this book when I was reading it. I've followed Kati on social media for about 6 years now. I was actually shown a video by her when I was in group therapy a few years ago, and I've just really loved her videos ever since then. She does videos. I think now she does a podcast, but I think it's mainly videos where she's a licensed family. What is it? Oh, it says right here, licensed marriage and family therapist. So she knows her stuff, and she makes a lot of videos and puts them on YouTube, and you should go subscribe to her right now, but I will get to that later. But this book is called Are You Okay? It's a guide to caring for your mental health, how to know if you need help, and where to find it. So I got this book mainly because I'm a huge fan of hers, but it ended up being a book for anybody. I mean, a lot of the stuff that she wrote about, I knew about just from my own experience. I just knew about, but I still learned a lot in the book. But especially for somebody that's just starting out, trying to find a therapist, trying to take care of their mental health, and any advice that they might have, what's it going to be like, that kind of stuff, I would definitely suggest that you buy this book and check it out. So I'm going to read the back of it just because I don't want to screw up her words or anything. But, yeah. So it says, get answers to your most common questions about mental health and mental illness, including anxiety, depression, bipolar, and eating disorders, and more. So I really love, I don't know. I just love this book. And I don't know how I'm going to review these books or anything like that. I don't know if I'm going to do stars, or if I just let you figure out if you should buy it or not. But I already said that you should go buy it, so I might just stick to that. I don't want to do stars or anything. I feel weird because I'm not really a reviewer of things with stars or anything like that. So I would suggest you go buy it though. It's extremely helpful, extremely informative. So some of the things that she talks about in the book is preparing for your first therapy session and what to expect in the therapy session. What kind of questions you can ask. And I will say this, with any doctor, you can ask questions. You're allowed to ask questions. You need to know more about what's going on as they explain it. And if they feel like you're asking too many questions, then I personally would say find a new professional, whether that's a doctor or a therapist, because you should be allowed to ask questions. So, the book will lead you through, any questions about therapy, about the therapist, about the types of therapy that you can choose from, or whatever. And she goes into detail with all of the different therapies, because there's a lot. You kind of be surprised, really. And I've been learning about that in school myself. And me personally, I'm in CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. And I think that's it is the most common. That's basically just talk therapy and trying to recognize any behaviors, whether they're good or bad. And but the bad ones, you recognize them, you work on them, and you just keep going like that. So that's basically talk therapy. But Katie talks about all that in the book, and it's super, super informative. It really, really is. So there's other things that people have asked her, or that might ask their therapist, is my therapist a good fit? She gets into that, if the therapist does this and this, then you should probably find a new therapist. But if the therapist does this thing for you or whatever, then you've got a good therapist. And I will say, through that book, I had a good idea that I had a really great have a really great therapist, but this book confirmed that for me, and I think that's really cool. It makes me feel like, I did something right in keeping my therapist, but it's awesome. That's a really important question, because if you don't feel like you fit with your therapist, then you definitely want to find another one, because you're not going to make any progress, so, but she talks about toxic relationships, all kinds of stuff. She'll talk about communication, having that communication with your therapist or your psychiatrist or loved ones, friends, anything like that. And that's something that I talked about in the podcast, even episode 8. So if you haven't listened to that, go to episode 8. I talked about communication. So communication is a huge thing. So she's got a big part of the book on that. You want to be able to communicate with your therapist and a psychiatrist or your doctor of any kind. It's just communication is key in a lot of these relationships. So, you definitely want to read that part of the book. I mean, obviously read the whole book, but it's, I don't know, like I'm catching myself gushing about it, but it's almost like this like mental health Bible type, where if you have any anxiety about going to therapy for the first time, you can just pick up this book and it will make you feel better, and it'll make you feel a little bit more confident because you know what to expect and the right questions to ask and all that stuff. So that's why I gush about it. It's just, I don't know. I mean, I've had it for, I don't know when it came out. I think it came out maybe end of 2018. So I think I got it a few months after it came out. So it's been about a year that I've had it. And I've read it about 3 times just because I love it. I mean, I keep stumbling on my words, but it teaches you too much. Like, if you want to know about yourself or a loved one or anything like that, I mean, she answers any questions. She talks about what mental health is. I'm going to go to the table of contents here to help me out here. So what is mental health? What you should know and where to start. How do you know if you need help? So you look for warning signs. Okay, so here's a big one, is mental health professionals, because there's so many, and a lot of people get them mixed up. Like a psychiatrist and a therapist are not the same people. Most of the time you see a therapist just for like the talk therapy, and then the psychiatrist is mainly for any medications you might go on or that you might be on. So, but that she gets into all that too. Finding the right kind of therapy, like I talked about with CBT or DBT. How to prepare for your first appointment. Is your therapist a good fit? Feeling the click in a therapeutic relationship. She talks about toxic relationship. Communication, like I said, avoiding common mistakes and healing broken relationships at home, at work, and in life. And then the last one is help. I'm in therapy and still struggling. And I think that's a big one too. A lot of people go to therapy, but they're still feeling like nothing's really helping. So that's when your option is to possibly go into a behavioral hospital, get some inpatient treatment. And there's nothing wrong with that. I can assure you that right now. So I've got a couple quotes and everything that I've got a bunch of note cards on my desk right now just to make sure that I don't forget anything. But one quote that I love that she wrote is, we don't have to stay who we are, because we don't. There's always room to grow, and there's nothing wrong with growing and becoming a better version of ourselves. And so I really love that quote. She has some key takeaways in a few chapters, and so I wrote those down, the ones that I think would be helpful. Therapy can be helpful for everyone, and differences in mental health professionals and what is best for you are the most important ones for me personally. And luckily, I have found the right psychiatrist and the right therapist, and I'm really, really thankful for that. But I know a lot of people struggle with that, so it can definitely help. So, yeah, it's really, like I describe it as like a mental health Bible, and Katie is just really good. She seems like a really great therapist. I think she's based in California, so she puts all these videos up of like different topics, and I'm assuming like questions from readers or like general questions and stuff, and she'll answer them and she'll go into detail, and it's like kind of talking to a therapist, but not face to face or even directly, So here's a quote that she put in the book that I really like by Mandy Hale. Growth is painful. Change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong. And I really like that. So I put it on a note card. I make note cards for each episode to make sure I don't forget what I want to say or anything. So I am going to get better at kind of moving through them. But this is season 2. So I'm still more comfortable than I was in the very, very first episode. But I know I still have a long way to go with my anxiety. But I digress. But yeah, it's here's another quote. So she says, Katie says, bottom line, we cannot limit treatment to those who meet the criteria of a mental illness. So what she was saying with that is that therapy is for everyone, and I will always believe that therapy can be beneficial to whoever. You don't have to have a mental illness to go to therapy. You can be happy and go to therapy. And if something bad happens, like a traumatic event, I feel like you'd be more prepared to kind of, maneuver through that traumatic event. Therapy can be for everyone. There's just so many stigma related things with that, I guess, and people just don't want to go to therapy, especially if they don't suffer from depression. They say, oh well, hopefully it's not all people, but I don't suffer from depression, I don't need therapy. That's for those people, but and honestly it basically is, but it's not going to hurt anybody to go to therapy, and that's my belief. And Katie talks about that a little bit in the book too. So let's see. There is always going to be times where you feel like you're just kind of stuck in your mental health journey. You feel like you're just kind of plateauing, or you're taking some steps back after you've made some progress. But I will be the first one to say that is normal. I go through that a lot. I make some very positive strides it could even be months at a time. And the next thing I know, I'm just kind of taking a few steps back because the depression just hits all of a sudden. But that's why, even when you're feeling okay, stay in therapy. It's much easier and very beneficial to your mental health to stay in therapy. Don't feel like you don't need therapy anymore. Because, sometimes that's true, of course, but other times it's like, stay in therapy and be prepared in case something happens. Don't expect something to happen, but you're prepared if it happens. If that made any sense at all. So, here's another excerpt from the book. There will be times during your path to self-improvement when you want to give up because it feels too hard and you're tired of fighting, but stick with it. Remember all the reasons you started on this path in the first place, and don't lose hope. Through hard work and persistence, you will learn who you truly are and who deserves the opportunity and privilege of being in your life. And that is so true. So that's why I had to write that down. And that just goes along with you feeling stuck, but that doesn't mean that you're stuck forever. You're going to be stuck. You work through it, and now you're making those steps forward. So it's a great book. I did put it on the Behind the Illness website. So if you don't know about that, it's behindtheillness.com. I just debuted that. I don't know if that was this week or last week. It's been a very long few days for me, but it's there anyway. It's behindtheillness.com. So if you go to behindtheillness.com/links, I put a link up to, I put the title and the author, and then I put a link to buy it from Amazon, but you can buy it from anywhere, I'm sure. Amazon's just kind of like more universal, so that makes it easy for y'all to find it. And yeah. So I'm going to be doing that with each book that I go through. I'll be putting the title of the book and the author's name on the links page, along with a link to buy it. I'll be doing all that on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, and then the episode regarding that book will be out on Fridays. So I'll keep everybody updated on that, though, because I know that it's probably a little confusing. But yeah, I just want to make sure y'all know where you can find it, and especially, I really hope that y'all buy the books that I'm reviewing and everything, and I'm really excited about this little series that I'm doing. So and like I said, I'm not getting paid for any of these. They don't know who I am. I've never talked to them before, and I'm doing this just because I love these books. I bought them with my own money, and one of them I got for Christmas, but still. So yeah, I just want to tell y'all that right now. I'm not getting paid. But y'all go buy it, support these authors because they're awesome. I can't wait to get to my absolute favorite author, starting in 2 weeks, because I'm going to do, the next one I do is that one. I don't want to tell y'all yet. And then I'll get to my favorite author. So I'm really excited about that. But anyway, one more excerpt from Katie's book that I just absolutely love, because I'm just a sucker for that cliche, like cheesy lines of "you're worth it," and it's cheesy and cliche, but it's true. You know what I mean? So, okay. So Katie says, "Don't listen to the naysayers. Instead, listen to this. You always have the power to change your life. You can push past any urges or struggles and become the best version of yourself. Yes, it will be hard and feel like you are caught in an internal battle, but the fight will be worth it. You're worth it." And I could not agree more. So, like I said, y'all go to behindtheillness.com/links, and there is a button where you can just click on it. It'll lead you straight to Amazon to buy the book. So, yeah, I can't wait. Y'all let me know if y'all decide to buy it. Let me know on any social media, so that maybe we can talk about it a little bit. So I will talk to y'all next week. I cannot wait. I'll be announcing the next book on social media, and we'll keep this going. Love y'all. Hey everyone, it's Allie V. Thank you so much for all the support and listening to my podcast. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, please do me a favor and leave the podcast a review. If you would like to be featured in a voice review or become a financial supporter, go to anchor.fm/btillnesspod. You can also go to my website, writtenbyallyv.com, for more information.